my channel. Today's video is going to be on how I did my makeup when I was visiting Walt Disney World. I got lots of wonderful, sweet comments from you guys saying how great my makeup looked when I was there. Honestly, a lot of it wasn't even me, it was just the humidity. My skin is so dry, and just being there just really helped my skin look hydrated and dewy. So a lot of it was just the weather, and my skin now, it's looking pretty good, but it's not looking as dewy and luminous as it was when I was there. But regardless, I still did my makeup like I did when I was in Florida, and I showed you guys too how I made it last, because I had to make it last the entire day despite the humidity. So I gave you guys some tips too on how I do my makeup if I want to make it last all day long. So I hope you guys like this video. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Since my background is looking super unfestive right now because it's all still like fall themed, I decided I probably should wear my Mickey Mouse holiday sweatshirt that I got when I was at Disney World. They literally came out with their like Christmas and holiday merch about, I think it was like my last 2 days there. I got this when I was at Hollywood Studios, so I think it was like within the last like 2 or 3 days that I was there, and I was so excited and I couldn't wait. So of course I got this sweatshirt, and I think it's super cute, and then I have these from when I worked there, so I figured, you know, to make this a little bit more holiday themed, I'll wear my holiday stuff. But I'm not sure how long these will last because they hurt your head like no other. They're super cute, but they hurt your head. So I'll see how long these last. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of dress up a little bit for the holidays since Thanksgiving is officially over, and I feel like now it's like socially acceptable to like start celebrating Christmas. Okay, so I feel like I mention this in almost every video, but then my videos get too long, and so I take it out because I'm like, oh, it's not that important. But it's actually important, is I use the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. So I'll put a little on the back of my hand, and I'll put this right on the sections of my face that I get oil buildup. But if you get super dry in this area, you probably won't have to do this. This is just for people who seem to get oily in the T-zone. Like I get really oily through here and then dry the rest of my face. So what I'm gonna do is I put it on in the sections of my face that get super oily, and then I'm going to blend it out. This is like a miracle primer too, because what it does is it prevents oil buildup, prevents redness, and also fills pores. So I feel like it just makes everything super smooth, helps prevent redness because I do get red and I get oily too. So if you feel like you have any of those symptoms, I would highly recommend this primer. My next tip isn't something that's really well known. I learned it from a friend when I was working at Sephora, and what she taught me is if you take some setting spray, so this is the Urban Decay Eyeliner. It's one of my all-time favorite setting sprays. I've had it since I worked at Sephora. I've had this I've rebought it several times for about like 3 years or so, and I love it. What I'll do once my primer is on my face, I rubbed it in, I will then go and spray my face with the setting spray. If you think of your primer kind of like the base before you put on your makeup, like similar if you're painting a canvas, if this extends your makeup, it will also extend your primer. So what you want to do is you want to spray that after you've applied your primer to make that even more long lasting. There were times where I was vlogging and I'm wearing makeup for like several hours, like 12 plus hours, and it was looking totally fine, especially in the humidity. It's because I locked in my primer by using a setting spray. You don't have to use this one, any setting spray will do. I didn't actually use this eye primer when I was in Florida. I recently got it because I became a Benefit Club Pink member. So what that is they selected 200 influencers between the ranges of 10,000 and 100,000 followers. You had to apply for it, and they selected you to be a Benefit Club Pink member. So basically you post a couple of posts a month dedicated to a benefit, and then you also have challenges each month. So that's been super fun. I was really excited to get it, and in my care package that came, are they called care packages? They're not called care packages. That's what you get when you're like in college. In my PR package, I got this. I got a lot of Benefit products, but I did get this Air Patrol, and it is a eyeshadow primer. When I'm in Washington, my skin is so dry. I have to really lather up the moisturizer, and I have to use products that are less, I guess, heavy? I don't know the right word for it, but my makeup is a lot less intense in Washington because my skin is so dry that if I were to pack on powder like I did when I was in Florida, it would look super cakey. So keep that in mind. This isn't probably going to work wherever you live. I just know my skin when I was living in Florida was totally different than when I was in Washington because of the climate change, and my skin just was better in the humidity, probably because it's so dry. I have a hard time finding eye primers that work for me, just because my skin is so dry. My eyelids are really dry. A lot of eyeshadow primers basically don't work for my eyes because they are so mattifying that with my eyes I feel like my makeup looks really just dry and crumbly. It just doesn't look good. But this is one of the few things I found that I really like. I just started using it. So it wasn't what I used when I was in Florida, but I am using it now and I really like it. So I'll be using it in today's tutorial. It's basically a BB cream eyelid primer and it has SPF in it. It has sunscreen in it. So basically what I will do is I will take a pump of this, put it on the back of my ring finger, and then just apply it to my eyelid directly. I'll just kind of go in pressing motions all over my eyelid to make sure I get even coverage. So a ton of you guys loved my eyeshadow when I was in Disney World, and to be honest, a lot of the eyeshadows, this is like the only palette I used the entire time I was there. It's a custom made palette that I made with different eyeshadows from Makeup Geek. One of the Makeup Geek representatives was watching my videos and she loved my Disney videos and she sent me a ton of eyeshadows. So thank you so much, and I had so much fun using these when I was in Florida. I just feel like they're really good quality and they're really easy to use. So I picked out a bunch of like neutral colors, and honestly I just rotated these and used them the entire time I was there. It was quick and easy. So I had so much fun using this, and honestly this is what I used every single day. But a lot of the colors I used are so neutral that you could find them in any palette. And the brushes I'm using today, I'm super excited to use because Thrive Cosmetics just launched their brushes. They're actually not available yet. They'll be available on November 30th. But I absolutely love Thrive Cosmetics. They are based here in Seattle, so I've gotten to work with them a couple different times, and I just love what they stand for. I feel like beauty doesn't have to be just about makeup. I think there's so many other components and elements to it, and I love that their whole thing is beauty with a cause. And what they do is they give back to women either surviving from cancer or surviving domestic violence, and they're giving back and empowering women while still promoting and producing amazing beauty products. So I always love any chance I get to support them, and these are brand new. I haven't even opened them yet, but I'm so excited to use these today, so I couldn't wait, and I'll be using them in the tutorial. So I'm starting off with an eyeshadow. It's called the Eyeshadow Crease Brush. I either used Peach Smoothie or Beaches and Cream. From the palette, they're these two colors. They're more neutral. Just to start off on my eye, after applying primer, the first color you really want to put down is a base color or a neutral color that's very similar to your skin tone already, so that it's easier to blend out eyeshadows. So I'm just blending that color right all over my lid just to make sure I have a really nice and even coverage. You guys, I am so glad that you guys have enjoyed my Disney vlogs as much as I did. Like, I was editing them like a day ahead, so I was a little behind. I was trying to make sure they were all up and ready every single day, but I had so much fun editing them because it's like they're already done. Like with these videos, I definitely have to go back in and edit a couple times and make sure everything lines up perfectly, and I'll cut out like awkward pauses or stuff like that. But my vlogs are super easy to edit, and I just loved editing them. I feel like I was reliving my trip, and it was so much fun for me to put them together. And so I was so glad you guys liked them because I really like them, and I know that like I make my videos like regardless of whether or not people will like them, but I'm really glad that you guys like them because I had a lot of fun making them, and I'm glad you guys could see that I was having fun making them, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed them. So thank you guys for all the love and support on those. It was really fun, and I'm glad you guys liked it. Okay, now that that base color is down, I'm going to take another transition color. So the color I'll be using is called Frappe. It's this one right here. It's kind of like a more warm toned brown. I'll take a little bit of that on my brush, and I'll just kind of work this into the crease. So first I'll place the pigment down. You can see there's kind of a harsh line, and then I'll slowly start to buff that outwards. And I'll go with this very light-handed because it's super easy to overwork it. And I feel like that was my biggest problem for so long, is I would press down so hard and really buff it in like really hard into my eye socket, and then the colors wouldn't blend out very well. But you can see how at first it started off as that harsh line, but then if you keep going like softly and then slowly starting to blend it outwards, it creates a really nice kind of defined crease. So this is just my base. This is the first color I'm using. I'll go in with another color. I just mixed it up every single day. I literally use different shadows every single day. So I think I'm gonna take a little bit of this one, even though it's a little bit of a cooler toned color. And it's called Creme Brulee. I'll take a little bit of that and just blend that in. It's really nice to use multiple shadows of very similar tones. And it helps create a really soft and blended look when you use multiple shadows rather than just like 2 shadows. I'm gonna take this shadow called Wild West. It is a little cool, so I will use a small bit of it and just really work that into my crease. Also, because I have hooded eyes, I'm doing my eyeshadow in a way most people probably wouldn't. You can see a lot of my darker colors are going to be concentrated right above my crease. And this really helps to define that crease and make my eyes look bigger than they are. So once the crease area is done, I'm going to go in and darken this area just a tiny bit. I will be using, actually I use a lot of these different colors down here, these maroon shades, and I'll probably use a little bit of the Cocoa Bear shade as well. This is Bitten, and there's one called Coca-Cola, and the other one is called Aphrodite. And I will be using my MAC 221 brush because I feel like the Thrive Cosmetics brushes don't have a small blending brush yet, but I will be using some other ones to apply my glitter. So I'm taking the shade Aphrodite, again just tapping a little bit of it and tapping off the excess. I'm just gonna go in really small motions in my crease area to not make it super pigmented. I'll take a little bit of Bitten as well and just really work that into the crease. And I'm going to take the same Thrive brush that we used before just to help blend that out. Make sure there's no harsh edges. So now I will go back in with one of the lighter shades. This is the White Lies shade here. I'll be taking the Thrive Cosmetics eyeshadow lid brush and just be placing that in the inner corner of my lid just to kind of, again, make my eyes look bigger and open them up. And if you go a little outside the edges, like I went a little high there, you can always blend it out again with that same brush that you used before to put down the base colors. And I'm just kind of pressing that on. I'm not really sweeping that because I really want to concentrate that pigment right on the inner corner of my eye. I like doing my eyeshadow first too because if I get any fallout down below, I can always go back through and wipe it away. If you've already put down your foundation, if you set it, it's a little bit harder to remove, so that's why I like putting down my eyeshadow first. I'm also taking a small amount of the pigment called Magic Act, and I will take some of that on the back of my ring finger just to apply it and make sure it's extra pigmented. Sometimes when you apply a glitter after you've already applied your darker shadows, it can kind of create a harsh line. This eye kind of has it more than this side. So what I will do is I'll go back with one of those medium shades that we used before and just softly kind of blend that together. So I'm pretty sure for one of the days, I think it was when I went to the breakfast, that I had my eyeshadow just like this. But what I will do is I will add some glitter, but I will do it after I put on my eyeliner, and then I go back in with the glitter and just press it on. That way I can make sure it doesn't mix with my eyeliner at all. This is like my all-time favorite go-to liner. It is the Lancome Le Crayon Kohl pencil. It's actually like about that big when you buy it. It's a lot longer. I just use this for years. I actually bought this right as I was leaving Sephora, so this one's lasted me a very long time. I don't typically like using a black eyeliner because I feel like it looks really harsh, but using a darker brown one looks a little bit softer on the eyes while still making your eyes pop. So if it's not perfect and it's kind of messy, it's okay because your lashes are going on top of it. So I'm going in with a little bit of the Smoldering Satin shade from Stila. And what I do with these is I don't put them directly on my eyes, put a little bit on your finger. That way I feel like you have more control when you're blending it out onto your eyelid. What I love most about these is that you don't need a glitter primer with them because they do dry. They're a little wet at first, but then they dry down. So it's like a 2-in-1. You don't need a glitter primer to apply this glitter and it just stays. There's no fallout because it is a liquid to dry product. So I will just use, as you can tell, like the smallest amount, but it just kind of adds a little bit extra depth that sometimes you just kind of need in an eyeshadow look. I mean, you can never go wrong with glitter. Next, I'm going to pop on some lashes, so I'm going to go do that really quick and I will be right back. Now that my lashes are on, I feel like it's about time to put a little bit of color on this face. So what I'm using today for foundation is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Cream. This is the CC cream I used the entire time I was in Florida. It's good for UVA and UVB rays, so you're protecting your skin, plus it gives you a full coverage. What I like about this too, because it's a CC cream, it kind of adapts to your skin. So if I'm a little bit paler, if I'm a little bit tanner, it will kind of like adapt to my skin tone, and I never have a problem with it looking like it's the wrong color for me. Maybe I will today, who knows. What I like about this is I never noticed, even though my spray tan was kind of fading towards the end of my trip, I didn't really notice a difference in my makeup from when I started my trip towards the end of my trip. I feel like it constantly matched my skin tone, which is really great because it's a CC cream and it will do that. So I'll just take a little bit on the back of my hand. Yes, my skin is hating me right now. Okay, sometimes this happens. So I have this pretty much all over my face, but I still have a little bit on the back of my hand left over, so I will take my beauty blender and just blend that all out. And so then I'll just start pushing it in, or pressing into my skin and buffing it out. So you can tell it is definitely darker than what I am right now, but it doesn't, when I blend it out, it doesn't look weird at all. But it's looking like I'm needing a spray tan or a silk tan right now. Looking a little pasty. But hey, this is the color I was when I was in Florida, so. Now I'll take a little bit onto my neck because I totally just lied and this is not my color right now, but you know what? It's okay. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. So as you can tell, when I blend it out, that's not bad at all. I know it looks a little dark for my skin, but it's really easy to blend out. Some foundations are not easy to blend out at all. But I feel like once it blends out and really starts to soak into my skin, like it just looks good. Even though it's a little dark for my skin right now, it still looks good. It doesn't look super like unnatural. I'm gonna use a small amount of my Naked Skin concealer, even though I am hardcore running out right now, just underneath my eyes to lighten them up a little bit. I'll use this concealer mainly to kind of lighten up the area on my eyes. I've realized that if I tend to use less product underneath my eyes directly, then it won't like sink into my crease lines as much. And that was helping me a lot when I was in Florida. So as you guys can tell right now, my skin before I set it with anything is looking like super dewy, which is fantastic for like Seattle because my skin's really dry. But in Florida, if I went out looking like this, like it would be a hot mess within like 10 minutes of me stepping out into the humidity. So what I did as soon as I put down my liquids, like I'm still blending it out to make sure it doesn't crease before I go into the powder, is I would literally put down my concealer and my foundation and I would go in with my RCMA setting powder. And it's really good to make sure that you really press in all your liquids before you go in with powder, just to make sure there's no creasing. Just pressing the Beauty Blender right into the RCMA powder. And I'm going to just put this on right underneath. I've noticed I get creasing right there because I smile a lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. And you can use that same powder to set the rest of the face. I'll be using the Charlotte Tilbury powder. So I'm just picking up a little bit of that product. I'm going to start lightly dusting that around my cheek area. I just realized I probably should set my nose, so. You really want to set any place that gets like a lot of oil buildup or like anywhere you would see creasing. So while this is baking on my face, I'm going to go and do my brows. Both these brow products I didn't actually have when I was in Florida, but again, I just got them from Benefit and I've been loving using them and I feel like they work great. What I will do is just brush my brow hairs first. Then I'm going in with the Goof Proof Brow Pencil and I'm going to start outlining the backs of my brows. And then I will brush them through afterwards with a spoolie. Taking that same Sephora Pro airbrush or featherweight brush that I used earlier, I'm also going to be going on with my Hoola bronzer just to lightly contour my cheeks. And focus the majority of the product towards the backs of my cheekbones or the higher points of my cheeks. And then when there's less product, that's when I go towards the inner portion of my face. I'll take a little bit on the tip of my brush as well, just to kind of contour my nose. I'll create a really soft contour. I can dust this off too now. Probably good. And with this, I will lightly dust it upwards. And I'll dust it back and forth to make sure it really got in those creases. Then for blush, I'll be taking my Morphe E4 brush along with my Benefit Dandelion blush. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of tap that into the product. I'll just lightly kind of press this along my cheeks. But it adds just a really nice subtle pop of color to your cheeks. For my highlight today, I'm using the Benefit Dandelion Twinkle Highlighter. I feel like it creates a really subtle highlight without it being too like in your face. And I'm also using the Thrive Cosmetics highlighter brush, and it's super cute because on the brush it says, "May your highlight be as bright as your future." So I love that they use their brand to really help empower other people, and like they had positive quotes on their brushes and bags, and I just think that's so awesome. Oh yeah, that's looking real good. So I love the combination of this highlight and this brush. I feel like it's a little bit softer bristles, or the bristles are a little more spread out, so it's not super concentrated. Sometimes the problem I see with my highlighter, if it's like too pointy and it gets in one spot, it can be like super intense highlight. But what's nice about this is when I tap it on with this highlighter, I feel like it's a really natural looking highlight, and it's really easy to build up too. So like for example, I wanted a little more highlight on the center of my nose. So what I did was I just took my ring finger and the highlight I just kind of lightly tap that on the side of my nose to make it look a little bit more intense, but then you can always blend it out with the brush. I told you guys the ears would not last forever. My head was starting to really hurt, so I will start to wrap things up. We're almost done. What I will do is take whatever remaining shadow was on this MAC 221 brush earlier and just go right underneath my eyes to kind of deepen them up. But I don't like going too dark underneath my eyes. I feel like it just looks weird on my eyes. After that, I'll take some mascara. I'm using the Stretch X mascara. This is what I got. I got it like a while ago, but I feel like it just really lengthens my lashes, even though my bottom lashes are really long already and they don't need to be any longer, but this is what I'll be using. Because my bottom lashes are so long, I just like using the smallest amount of mascara just to make them look a little bit more defined, I guess. But they're not like super intense. Just enough mascara to tie the look all together. Lastly, I'm going in with my lip color. Today I'm using the Stila Cosmetics Patina Lip. This came in the lip kit I got for the holidays. It was in a lip pack of I think like 8 of them or so, and what I did was I brought that entire lip kit with me. I just took them all out and threw them in my makeup bag, and I literally just alternated lipsticks while I was there. But I love this formula. I feel like it lasts all day and I can reapply without having any issues. So last but not least, I'll make sure to spray my makeup again once it's all set, just to make sure it really lasts all day long. And that is it for the tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love making these videos for you guys, and it honestly just warms my heart knowing that you guys love them too. So thank you guys for all of the love and support. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!